Welcome back to the Keiser Report. I'm Max Keiser. Time now to return to our conversation with Simon Dixon. He's over there in the Isle of Man, of course, of Bank to the Future, author of the same book, Bank to the Future. Simon, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back again.
All righty. Now, Simon, in our first part of this conversation, I heard again in your voice a very passionate description of the disruptive qualities of Bitcoin and crypto. And, so often in this industry, people get caught up in the little petty kind of little wars that go on, this coin versus that coin, and they lose sight of the big picture, how disruptive this is to banking and to fiat money. So, I think it's important, Simon, to once again preach the gospel to the people about how this is disrupting global banking. You were a banker. You came into crypto. Now you're riding the wave of this disruption. Preach, brother. Preach to the people.
Well, it is really important because we've had so much internal politics, as you know, Max, within our industry. Our industry has kind of turned on itself with our internal politics, but we do need to remember to put our best foot forward. And our best foot forward is exactly what this industry is doing. The fact of the matter is, Max, when we first started talking about this thing, when you had, guests on and you introduced, Bitcoin to the world for the first time on national TV, we were a tiny little thing. We had so many things against us. We were so likely to fail. We both spoke at that first Bitcoin conference, but yet here we are today, where pretty much wherever I go in the world, no matter how many people or what type of person I speak to, they have heard at least of Bitcoin. They may not know what it is. They may not know how to use it, but almost everybody in the world has heard of Bitcoin. That means that now there is something that everybody has heard of that they are going to discover at a different time why they need it. The people in Cyprus didn't know that they needed Bitcoin until the bank stole their money. The people in Greece didn't know they needed Bitcoin until the ATM said there's no cash. The people in India didn't know that they needed Bitcoin until they had to queue outside their bank with their life savings in a bag and risk getting killed for their life savings because they had to put it through the banking system. Mexico didn't need that they needed Bitcoin until Donald Trump became president and crashed the value of 25%. The UK didn't know that they needed Bitcoin until Brexit happened and their currency and savings depleted 25% in the international markets. We now have the very first time the ability for you to take, to have digital cash, to own your own money, spend your own money, and have a monetary policy that rewards the saver rather than rewards the people taking on debt with traditional money. Now, within that, we got lots of politics. We got people that believe that Bitcoin is a savings account. We got others that believe that it should be used as cash. And then you've got people coming along and saying, well, we can do this cheaper, faster, and better. But the point of the matter is that Bitcoin is the only one that's actually a store of value that's decentralized, that's able to actually fulfill that store of value role. And if something comes along and creates cheaper, faster cash, then great. That's the innovation that we're having. Ethereum comes along and creates a smart contract platform that turns out is actually disrupting the IPO market, Wall Street, and Silicon Valley. That doesn't mean that it competes with Bitcoin. This is all part of a greater ecosystem. And then EOS came along and says that we can do this cheaper, faster, better, more decentralized, less decentralized. The point of the matter is that Pandora's box is open. Bitcoin is this store of value, and we've got all this innovation that's being built around it. And that is a completely free market capitalist environment that regulators, when they try and control it, it ends up going somewhere else. So, governments are making decisions all around the world how they are actually going to react to this technology. And that means that the dollar is less important in the world than it was because of Bitcoin. And because of Ethereum, the IPOs, Silicon Valley and Wall Street are less important in the world than they were before. And now on a global scale, people can participate in this movement, this disruption. And at various different levels, people all around the world are going to be involved at different phases for different reasons. But the fact of the matter is we have global competition in some of the most entrenched interests that were built in the financial system that now need to be more honest, compete better, put together better systems. And then, look at it when we have the next financial crisis. If we have a crisis, this time they're not too big to fail. you can replace their money with a Fed coin or a cryptocurrency created at a central bank. And that can compete with Bitcoin. Bitcoin will win because it's a decentralized one that allows you to own it, spend it, and it encourages savings. But the fact of the matter is you now have all this disruption. You have all this competition. And when you first started the Keiser report, Max, and you were, telling the world about all this corruption and problems, well, we now have the anti-force, and that is the crypto industry.
Yeah, I think a good point there is that the next crisis, and we know it comes because it comes as a result of the bailouts of the preceding crisis. They never solve the problems. They just print more money. Now, you've brought up a lot of good points there. You've given talks around the world, and you have said on many occasions that you can see crypto and Bitcoin overtaking the venture capital market. And we've got a lot of inroads there too, Simon Dixon. Where are we on that timeline? Is this now eclipsing the venture capital market in your view? What do you think?
Well, it's already happening. The amount of money raised through ICOs last year. Now, you could have an opinion on them. So many of those were scams, unregistered securities, straight out Ponzi schemes. But the fact of the matter is more money was raised.